what does it mean we should drink from their words with thirst? With thirst. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the mission over here. The Torah is compared to water, like you said before. To learn Tainas Dav Zayin, many other places, Ein Mayim El Torah, right? Rabbeinu Yoina, he quotes the following pasuk in Mishlei, in this is in Chav Zayin Zayin. Nefesh Sava Tafus Noifis V'Neshev Rava Kol Mar Masak. Someone, a soul that is satiated and satisfied, he will trample on honeycomb. Whereas a soul that is hungry, anything that is bitter will be very, very sweet. So comes along the Talmid, the Rabbeinu Yonah, excuse me, Talmid Rabbeinu Yonah, comes along the Rabbeinu Yonah and says, someone who's satisfied with the Torah that he learned, and he doesn't want to learn more, he can hear the biggest chiddush, he's going to just step on the thing, he's going to trample on it. But someone who's hungry for more Torah and he desires more, will hear it. Even if it's not such a geschmack idea, it's a simple idea. He wants to hear it because he knows it's true. Side point. Comes along the Avos to Rebbi Nassim. It's one of my all-time favorite parts of the Avos to Rebbi Nassim, the entire Sefer. The Avos to Rebbi Nassim says that this line of the Mishnah, the Avos to Rebbi Nassim says that this line of the Mishnah refers to none other than Rebbi Akiva, my favorite rabbis of all time. That's why I put up a Rebbi Akiva playlist already. What was the beginning of Rebbi Akiva, says the Avos Rebbi Nassim? This is the history story about Rebbi Akiva. Rebbi Akiva, well known, he was 40 years old, he didn't learn anything. He stood by a well and he said, the water, there was a rock, it was chiseled, and he said, what's going on? Who did this? And they said, oh, it was slowly after time it happened. And then it chiseled through. Rebbi Akiva made his first Kal V'chomer. He said, oh, if something soft water could penetrate, could make a hole through something hard than a rock, then for sure something that's very hard, aka the Torah is kasha kabarzel, hard like metal, like iron, can make a hole in my heart. You see that even Am Haaretz, someone who, which is also discussed in the same Gemara Pesachim Mem Tes, someone who is an Am Haaretz still, you use your brain, you could get something, you start somewhere. And that's what the Avos Rebbi Nassim says over here. And then he decided he was going to learn, right? He started learning. So he went to with his son, and it's pointed out over here. You see that Rebbi Akiva already had a son from a previous marriage, not from Rachel, the daughter of Kaval Sivua. And he went to the children Rebbe, and he said, Rebbe, teach me. Taught him the Aleph Beis, and he went through it till he learned the whole Torah. And then the Avos Rebbi Nassim says, we see that now when a person goes to Shemayim and was asked, did you set time to learn? They're going to say, I was poor. Oh, you were poor? Rebbi Akiva was poor. He spent time to learn. Oh, you had kids? Rebbi Akiva had children. He had time to learn. No excuse. That's the Avos Rebbi Nassim. And that's what this mission is referring to drink with the words with thirst. Rebbi Akiva humbled himself to go in front of a kindergarten teacher, whatever it is, to learn the Aleph Beis with a bunch of kids, to learn the Aleph Beis. That's humility. That's how you learn Torah. One of the 48 ways to acquire the Torah. Showing respect. Just one ha'ara on this whole episode with Rebbi Akiva, one of my favorite all-time stories that gives me a tremendous amount of chizuk. People have asked me over the years why I sit so long and just focus on just learning. Especially in the summer, people tend to ask me. This is before I was married also, and I was just staying with people all day, and I wouldn't move. So I tell them, this Rebbi Akiva gave me a lot of chizuk. I mean, there's a lot of things that gave me the chizuk. But this Rebbi Akiva thing, they asked a question of Rebbi Akiva. What was it that fueled Rebbi Akiva to learn for so many years straight? What gave him the ability to focus for 24 years straight, leave his wife, of course, with their permission, to learn straight? What made him do that decision? It was just a rock? It was just a little hole in the rock? That's what did it? A little water in the rock? So there's a question that's asked about this rock. What was it? Was it the first drop that went into the rock? No, that didn't cause anything. Was it just the last drop? Just one drop came and then it was a hole? Was it drop after drop after drop? The answer is it was the latter. Rebbi Akiva realized that it was, this is what the Vilna Gaon says. I didn't see it inside, I saw it quoted. It was drop after drop after drop after drop. He realized that this is what caused it, drop after drop. The water's like Torah. Rebbi Akiva realized that it's not just, it's going to happen at once. The beginnings are hard, but every single drop of Torah matters. Every single word of Torah that a person learns matters, and it builds. It's like a building. You look nowadays at these skyscrapers in New York City that they're putting up, the 100-story buildings. The billionaires are all right by Central Park. right? And you look at it, it doesn't take 2 days to build that. They got teams of hundreds of workers. It takes months and months and months. The bigger the building, the bigger the foundation, the deeper you got to go. It takes a tremendous amount of time. So Rabbi Jonathan Reddy quotes in the Sefer Woman and Masman, he says that there was a story of a king who came along and he said, whoever climbs this tower will marry my daughter, will be the next king, and will inherit half of the kingdom. So everyone naturally lines up. They all want it. And they're all going and climbing, and it's a very big tower. And they didn't realize how many steps were in between each level. By the 50th, already half of them were out. By the 60th, by the 70th, they said, how are we going to get up? We can't do the whole thing. How are we going to get up? It was 1,000 stories. How are we going to get up? By the 90th, they were all out. What they didn't realize was that the 100th floor, there was an elevator that went right up. That's the siyata d'shmaya that a person gets when they learn a lot. That's what Rebbi Akiva realized. In the beginning, it's going to be tough. There's a whole world out there. There's a whole Torah. But it's every single drop. That's what fueled Rebbi Akiva. That's what gave him the chizuk to learn straight to get going. No, also there's other things. What fueled me also is I started learning, and I said, "This is interesting." And I didn't put down the phone. That's what it was. And when a person learns, he has to realize he's bringing good upon himself and everyone who he interacts with also. That's what he has to realize.